My name is Amy Lewis, and I'm sitting here with Mishi Medley, and we're talking about the opportunities and the future of Among Friends, which is an activity center for adults with special needs. And we're just going to dive into the different ways that it's affecting our community here in Norman.
How did you get involved with Among Friends?
I was hired a year ago. Actually, it was last week, I think. So it's almost a year exactly, as the executive director. So I've been here a little over a year.
Okay, and when was this founded, do you know?
I believe it was 2003.
Okay, and is it only in Norman?
Yes, as of now, we would love to replicate the program, though. We do have some interest in replicating it. I worked at the Oklahoma Autism Center Foundation before this. I was really involved in the autism community, not the broader disability community, which now has been amazing to be part of the broader disability community, because I feel like you can learn so much more being part of that bigger community, and together we could do so much more.
What do you think are the next steps for Among Friends as an activity center here in Norman?
At some point, we're going to outgrow this space. We'll probably have to get a bigger space. We really want to replicate around Oklahoma, particularly in the city. We have a few rural places interested. There's a place in Weatherford that really wants to open a space. I love the idea of starting in rural Oklahoma and then moving out to the city, because it's kind of nice to start in rural Oklahoma, but Oklahoma City badly needs one.
What do you think makes Among Friends different from other centers?
I don't think there's really is any other centers that I know of, but the other centers that I do know of are more like daycare centers. We're not a daycare, as you can see. There needs to be a level of independence. If there isn't that independence, they have to bring in an assistant. But we try to help them to be as independent as possible, and if they aren't, we kind of try to help them to get those independent skills. Like I said, I think about how I want my son to be treated, and I want him to be empowered. So we try very hard to empower our members, and we treat them like adults. We don't treat them like little kids. We don't patronize them. So we have adult conversations.
So what is the goal of Among Friends?
For
Among Friends as an organization, but also for the members here.
I think with any nonprofit, the goal is really to have people not need you. But with Among Friends, I think it's a little less that way, because it's not so much that I don't want people to need us, but I want them to feel so empowered that they can go on and have a good life, an independent life. Maybe not need us so much. Like, we've had one member, Parker, who now has a job and doesn't come as frequently. He's got a girlfriend, and so he doesn't need to come as often, which is a great success story.
Yeah.
So maybe not need us as much, but our goal is really to empower our members to just have a happy life.
What can someone who reads this story do to make this happen, to make a change in effect?
Well, we don't receive any government funding, and there's some reasoning behind that. That was one of my first questions when I took this job, is why don't you take any government funding? The issue when you take government funding is then they put regulations on how many staff you have to have, and also on how much you have to pay them. So then it becomes...
Then the costs go up for people here.
And then you kind of end up having to operate like a daycare, and we didn't want to do that. So private funding allows us to operate kind of where like we want to operate. Really, we need more donations. We need more volunteers. We need more awareness. Just getting the word out about Among Friends, about the needs of our community, and the stigma, I think, too. Anybody who spends an afternoon here will realize that these guys are fun.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and taking the time to go through all that you guys do here and the impact that you're creating in our community here in Norman.